Hello, guys. Welcome to Daddy and the Don. Today we're here for a special phone-in show. It's basically debating the top 10 Premier League centre-backs of all
Hello
time.
guys, welcome to
Before
Daddy
we
and the
get
Don.
to that,
We're
we
here
will
for a special
be talking a preview in the upcoming weekend's games. So we'll go through that very briefly, and then we'll get to the good stuff, which is the countdown. Few people coming on a bit later on within the next 20 minutes. And again, on the chat is the link if you want to join and have your opinion. Like I said, I've seen everyone's top 10. How we'll do it is everyone will go at one point at a time and go through it. And then after that, we will then just open the floor and see what everyone thinks about it. So I'll start with you, Jamie. Thanks for coming on. First time on the show. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on, fella. Should be a good one. I'm doing well. I'm doing not too bad. My little boy's got COVID, but he's doing all right. He's doing all right. So yeah, he's much better today because he's beaten up his sister. So yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, cool. Luke, thanks for coming back on. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. Looking forward to a good discussion.
Good. Yeah, it'll be good. Like I said, I've seen everyone's top tens. There's some eyebrow raising ones there. Before we get to the first question, just a few people who won tonight. Well, loads of people. Rob, you'll see. The main man himself, Ollie, Magnum loving, and then Laura, my wife. Hi, lads. Okay, I'll start with you, Jamie. This weekend, Everton. It's pointless me asking how you're going to get on. I think we all know the answer. By how many though?
I think I went on my prediction show earlier. I said 4-0. It'd be back-to-back 4-0s. Yeah, I'd love more, obviously, but this Everton team are dire. This is the worst Everton team I've seen in a long, long time. And Frank Lampard, I don't think he's the right choice to be the Everton manager. I mean, it didn't make sense. If you're going to let go of Rafa Benitez, you've got to get someone in who knows what to do at that end of the table, because Frank Lampard ain't the option. And there was even rumours, was it last week, that Lampard could get the sack from Everton as well. So no, shocking. This Everton team's dead. They got a championship level defence. I mean, their back four is championship level. Shocking. I've got an echo. Yeah, they're absolutely defending. The defending is absolutely terrible. Going forward, Richarlison is the most average Brazilian international I've ever seen in my lifetime. Calvert-Lewin rather wear a bra than play football. They're dead as a team, and 4-0. I'm going back to back 4-0s, and that's me being kind, because it could be anything.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you. Ren, thanks for coming on. Another Liverpool fan, the same as Jamie. Just asked Jamie about Everton.
My man.
So, what's your opinion on this upcoming game against Everton? Is it a 3 points in the bag?
Do you know what? I think it's 3 points, but the one thing I'm a bit worried about is what they done last time, because the way that we humiliated Man United, and the way everybody said that they weren't putting a foot in. I'm worried that they're going to try and go in, like, be a bit more dirty than Man United was, and I just don't want any injuries, if I'm honest with you. So
bang on.
I'm a little bit. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the game. I'm worried about how they come out, and are they going to try and put a foot in? That's the one thing I'm not going to like.
No. That's why. For me tomorrow, I don't think Thiago plays, because Richarlison's got an hard on if he breaks his leg. He wants that. So so I think Thiago will be rested tomorrow. I don't see Luis Diaz playing tomorrow, because I think them two players, Everton players, would love to take out. So yeah, I agree with you, fella. Totally agree with you there.
I'm with you. I'm just hoping Klopp does a proper change. I'm not saying that they're going to be walkovers, but I don't want to see a few of the names that Jamie said play. I just want to see some of the fringe players, just maybe throughout the second team in this game, in all honesty.
Yeah, exactly.
So regarding the Premier League, How confident are you that you can forget everything else? I'll start with you, Ren. How confident are you that you can win the league? Can you win it, and will you win it?
Do you know what? I've been trying to avoid this conversation because I think Man City's in front, and we all know that they're hard to claw back the points against when they're in the front in the lead. So all I'm worried about personally, I know you said let's focus on this, but I'm just worried about the cup games because that's in our hands, and whatever happens in the league happens, and then I'll take it. If we win it, we win it. If we don't, at least we get the cups. I want the cups at the moment. What's in our hands.
Jamie, same question. I know I've asked you this on your stream. Yeah. I mean, yes, we can win it because it's only a point difference. Will we win it? Will we win it? I've always said after the City-Liverpool game, both teams will win the remaining games they've got this season. A bit like the other a few years back when same scenario, and I don't see that changing. I mean, City have got Watford tomorrow. They can't batter them. Yeah, I don't see anything changing. But I do see us winning the other two trophies. So, yeah.
What, FA Cup and Champions League?
Yeah, I see us winning them. Yeah. I mean, I see Chelsea at the moment. Chelsea look like a dead football team. They look exhausted. Their squad is paper thin. It's not a very big squad. They look exhausted. And Liverpool look fresh. We look like it's August, not like coming into May.
Yeah.
And I think we'll smash them in the final. And, you know, I'll have us beating anyone left in the Champions League, even Real Madrid and City, to be fair.
I agree.
Luke, just as a neutral, obviously a Tottenham fan, how impressed have you been with Liverpool, especially in the last few months, coming back from where they were and you know, potentially getting the quadruple?
Yeah, I think that obviously they've shown resilience. They've got the mental strength to really push through and take City all the way. They're not going to make it easy for City. If I'm honest, I can't see City dropping the league, but I do think it will come down to the last day of the season. I do think Liverpool are going to push them all the way. And yeah, I've been really impressed. They've shown that they've added depth in the right areas, and they've got options, which is maybe something that you could argue they were lacking a little bit.
Yeah, we got more depth for Man City. I've said it for a while now. We got the best squad in England. You know, look at our squad to Man City's. Man City, I mean, on their bench in recent weeks, they got academy players. They can't fill their bench. You know, and yeah, for us at this moment in time, we have but it's just come a bit too late in the season. You know, at the beginning of the season, I say City squad was a little better. Now I think ours is, and yeah, it's just come at
the fact is that Harvey Elliott, Minamino, and Oxlade-Chamberlain are not even on the bench in the last couple of games. That says everything about your depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Ren, I'll go back to Everton. I'll ask Jamie the same. Do you want Everton to go down? Because I spoke to a fan the other day, and I said to them, yes, it'd be funny, but Liverpool love the Merseyside derby. So would you want them to go down, or do you want them to stay up?
Can I be honest with you? No. No, I'm not a fan of like any of our top rivals going down, because I think when we win the league, we can say that we beat all the best teams. Do you know what I mean? That's in our league. I don't like having this win the cup when all the best teams are relegated. So personally, I know this might sound silly as a Liverpool fan, but I would miss them in the league because I do look forward to the game, to that match. So why would you want to lose that, especially like a team like them? And let's be honest, they've been in the league. I think they've been in the league the longest, right? Of everybody.
Them and Arsenal.
Yeah,
they've been relegated. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it's like I know it's not our record, but it's just something that I look at. I don't know. I wouldn't want them to go, if I'm honest. That's just me being honest. But I would like to see them get beaten, but maybe just survive. Just, do you know what I mean? Like, not. I don't know, man. But I don't want them to go. That's me being honest.
It's a win-win, isn't it? It's a win-win.
No, I don't want.
Jamie, what about you?
No, I don't want to get relegated because, you know, it's an easy 6 points every year, firstly. And then, you know, I love seeing them struggle. Don't get me wrong. I love watching them fight at the wrong end of the table. I mean, it's just hilarious. Same with Man United struggling. You know, forever that continue, that they struggle for years and years and years, because it's hilarious. same as Man United fans were saying about us in the 90s and the early 2000s. So just comes around now. But no, I don't want to. I like Merseyside derbies. You know, you look at the fixture list at the beginning of the season, you see when the Man United game is, the Merseyside derby game is, and now you look where the Man City game is, because the it's not a rivalry, but it's the two best teams in Europe going at it. So you look for their matches, and I don't want to replace Everton with Fulham. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. But no, keep them in the league, but make them struggle every year. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I'd say the same about, I never want Tottenham to go down. It'd be hilarious, but at the same time, you look forward to them sort of fixtures. It's got a bit of spice about it, and it's something that's always going to. Yeah, you want that spice. Yeah,
sporting integrity. That's what you want.
Yeah, basically. I'll go for a prediction for this game against Everton. I'll start with a neutral. Luke, can you see anything but a Liverpool win here? And what's your prediction?
No, I can't see anything but a Liverpool win. I mean, obviously, Everton recently had a win, albeit against a shit Man United team. But Liverpool is just going to be too much for them. I think it'd go beyond Jamie. I think that's going to be a 5-0.
Jamie, what do you reckon? 4-0?
Yeah, I think it'd be 4-0. But I do think Everton will give us a harder game than Man United. I think they will get stuck into challenges. They won't let our midfielders have all the time in the world to ping the ball about. They'll get stuck into challenges because it's a derby. So it will be a tougher game, but the firepower we have up front is ridiculous. And Salah just had his lunch against United and he's hungry for dinner. So yeah, he's going to eat.
Ren, what do you reckon, mate?
I'm gonna say 2-0, and the only reason why I say that is because I believe that they are gonna. That last games is still in my head where Pickford and Richarlison was just taking our guys. So I feel like we're going to be a little bit cautious. So I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah, totally understand.
Yeah, I've got Andrew Murray here. Thanks, the Bear. 4-0 Liverpool. Yeah, I understand that, but I think 4-0 upwards. I'll say 4-0 like Jamie. Look, we can say we want about Man United. They are an absolute poor team, but they are better than Everton. And yes, there's a thought Everton might put a challenge in as it's a derby. But if Liverpool get an early go, this could be a rout for me. Yeah, it could be a rout. I'll just go to you now, Luke. Obviously, Spurs fan. I know someone's got to be. You got Brentford on the weekend. My wife's team away, tough fixture. Do you think this is a harder game than what a lot of the fans will expect? Do you think this would be a hard game to get 3 points from?
Yeah, I mean, Brentford at home are always a difficult team. Brentford, home or away, a tough side to play against. Obviously, we didn't play in the best performance against Brighton. It was very lackluster. Players were looking a bit leggy. They didn't really know how to break the lines. Fair play to Brighton. They kept their shape well. And I think Brentford will do the same, but I think they will leave a few more openings than Brighton did. So if if Brentford look to take their game to us, they will leave some holes, and it's up to the front three to try and exploit them. So I think it will be a tough game, and just trying to keep that clean sheet is the main thing, because I think as long as you can keep a clean sheet against Brighton, you are going to get chances.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any injuries, but do you expect him to go back to the same team, even though that performance against Brighton was under par, or do you think he might make a few changes? Unless,
he may look at the wing-back situation. He may want to put Sessegnon in there. Obviously, with Doherty being injured, he's sort of stuck with Emerson at the moment, unless he wants to try a Lucas Moura or Steven Bergwijn at right wing-back, but I can't see that happening. And with Skip still being injured, I can't see anyone to really come in and replace it. Moura came on against Brighton, didn't do anything. I did want to see a bit more of Bergwijn, but again, I can't see him starting. So what I would hope for is if things aren't working out, maybe we bring Bergwijn on a little bit earlier. He is starting to gain a little bit of confidence. He does try and make things happen, and he has got that change in pace where he can just blitz a man. So, but in terms of starting lineup, I can't see any changes.
I'll go, Jamie. I'll go to you. Why does no one want top 4?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's madness, ain't it? It's absolutely madness. Look, Tottenham, you can't bet on Tottenham, can you? This is the problem. You know, they had some great wins, scoring some fantastic goals. You know, I think they're the leading goal scorers in 2022. I mean, and then they have a game like they did against Brighton. It's just, I can never put money on Tottenham. I can never do it.
No, I've tried.
It's just, I don't trust them. And the same with Arsenal.
I tried against Brighton.
I mean, Arsenal as well, they had 3 losses in a row and then they have a tremendous result against Chelsea. I mean, I never even saw that coming.
Yeah.
This top 4 situation is nuts. Man United are well out of it for me. I don't think they can win enough games to secure top 4 with the games that they got left. And it's out of Arsenal and Tottenham. And I did say, I think I said it a while ago, actually, back in the new year. I said that the top 4 will go down to the last game of the season. And I reckon it will as well, between Arsenal and Tottenham. Because I don't think Arsenal or Tottenham will win consecutive games. I think they'll both win a game and then lose a game, or draw a game, then win a game, draw a game and lose a game. It just seems the way it's going for both of you guys. And I could see it going down to the last game of the season, which will be exciting because that's what we want in the league, ain't it? Nothing's settled. We're coming into May and nothing is settled. It's brilliant, and that's what we want.
That's what we want as a neutral.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think if the league is in the balance and top 4 is in the balance come the last day of the season, that will reinvigorate some people, because I think people get the ump with City winning the league, with 4 or 5 games to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sky Sports are desperate to find something to put on, ain't they?
That's it. Well, they were advertised 6th and 7th one year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ren, I'll switch to you about Brentford. Obviously, you know, the wife's Brentford, the father-in-law, and a few Brentford people watch this channel, like Jay. How impressive have you been with them this year? First season in the Prem?
I already knew before they came up that they would be a hard team to beat. And they've showed us at the beginning of the season what they were made of. Because in all honesty, when I thought we finished that game, and then obviously it was a free, if I remember correctly, it was 3-3, right?
Yeah, 3-3 at Brentford,
Yeah. So to be honest with you, from that game, I said they're going to be a formidable force, especially at home, which they've proven this year. They've taken out some big names already. And even away, I feel like the manager that they have is very organized. Plus, they get their recruitment right as well. And they're surprised. And I feel like they will stay in the league longer. So not one of the teams that yo-yo up and down. I think they'll be in here for a few years now.
Yeah, Jamie, what do you reckon about Brentford? Been impressed?
No, I've been impressed by Brentford and Thomas Frank and the way they've gone about it. I love seeing these teams coming up now and actually playing football, not part of the bus. Not part of the bus football for promotion teams used to do. And Thomas Frank is this new generation of manager that ain't scared to play football and mix it up, even against the big boys. And I like that, and I'm impressed by that. This game against Tottenham, I'm doing the watch along for this game against Tottenham tomorrow at 5:30, and little plug there. And I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it because I do like watching Brentford, especially at home. You know, they crowd get up for it. Brentford are always good at home against the big boys. They always give them a game. You know, they don't hide away. And I enjoy watching Tottenham. I really do. I enjoy watching the way Son, who must be one of the most underappreciated forwards in the league. He's a tremendous player. And Harry Kane now turning into Teddy Sheringham slowly. You know, they're both tremendous footballers, and I enjoy watching them play. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tight game. I don't see Tottenham like running away with it. I don't see Brentford. It's going to be a very tight game, and I'm looking forward to it. Really am.
I'll go for predictions. I'll start with you, Ren. What's your prediction for this game? Remember, Laura's with me right now, so just be careful what you say.
You know what? I think I'm gonna.
Luke's already fucked in the corner.
Okay, I'm going. I'm gonna say 1-1. You know. 1-1. Yeah, 1-1.
I'll go to you, Jamie. What do you reckon? One of those games where anything can happen for me.
Yeah, I think my prediction earlier, I went 2-1 Brentford. to Brentford on such, but Spurs could turn up and win 4-0. This you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know Tottenham. Tottenham are the most annoying team. Jekyll and Hyde.
They are, and I just like Brentford at home against the big teams. They don't always win, but they make it difficult, and I think they will as well. So just go for a slight Brentford win.
Luke, what do you reckon, mate? Do you reckon you'll get back on track here with a win?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I said earlier about I think keeping a clean sheets. That's sort of key against Brentford, but I do think we will concede. I think there's too many errors in the defence, but I think in the end we will squeeze out a win, and I can see it being a 2-1 Tottenham.
Yeah, again, it's one of those games where anything can happen. I'm going to go for a 1-1 like Ren. But if Tottenham wins 3-4, 5-0, I generally wouldn't be surprised because that's how they are right now. They're just annoying, very similar to us. But it is what it is. Before we get to the countdown, just briefly talk about Arsenal Man United. It's a big game. I'm an Arsenal fan. Ren, is this an opportunity for Arsenal to absolutely smash Man United, or do you think they'll be better after that Liverpool performance?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Arsenal need to take this opportunity now because personally, with your games in hand, I thought you were just going to run away with top 4 personally. But then it's like when you went into those other games, I don't know if you've got enough experience in your team to keep all the players, like in check to keep them level-headed and maybe keep them a bit calm. I think once you get a few experienced players across in your spine, I think your team will probably be very solid going forward. I think you can beat Man United, but then it's whether your team's willing to show up on the day. Because I feel like with Arsenal, I feel that they play. You play some really good football, but again, it comes down to whether you're. I don't know, man. Whether everyone's up for it, basically. Because I feel like sometimes the mind is not in the game. Because like you were winning, like the way you beat Chelsea. Personally, that should give you the confidence at the end of the season. That was a very good win, personally. But let's just, I feel like there could be nervy moments coming to the end of the season.
In logic, Jamie, if Arsenal play like they did against Chelsea and Man United play like against Liverpool, then it should be a home win. But it's not that easy, is it?
No, exactly. Football is, it's one of them sports that you can't say, oh, so and so beat them, so we should be playing like we should win that game. It's just not way. Football is probably the only sport that don't sort of work like that. And but this United team is shit. They're awful. This is the worst Man United team I've seen in my lifetime by quite some way. Their squad's terrible. There's not a player.
Squad's overrated as well.
Yeah, I think exactly.
So Jamie, sorry to cut you, but can I say something? You've seen our teams back in the day, right?
Mm.
And even when we were at our worst with players like Kuchelski, we never got walked over like they did, and they actually have some star-studded players. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we do you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. We always put up a fight, even when we haven't. I mean, Danny Murphy scored winners against Man United. I mean, we put up fights, and this United team's got no fight, man. They got the last fight Aaron Guy was in Greece. I mean, it's just been they're awful. They're awful, and this. I always say, like Bruno Fernandes, he's got the ego of Diego Maradona, but the technical ability of Danny Drinkwater. That's Bruno Fernandes for me. I don't get the player. They've just got too many of these players in their team. And when I was a kid, I used to watch Man United all the time and be jealous because, in the 90s and that, United had this amazing team. Liverpool just thought they're still in the 70s and 80s and fell well behind. And I used to think, oh, man, he would look so good next to Stevie, or he'd look really good next to Sami Hyypiä. And I was like, oh. And now I look at this United team, it's not a United player I'd ever want. They're terrible. Pogba's gone. He looks like he's going to PSG, and he's probably played his last game now. And I think if Arsenal play the right way, if Arsenal don't play if Arsenal don't play the occasion because it's Man United and just play the 11 that are in front of them, they have zero confidence. Are not playing for the manager at this moment in time. They'll walk it. And that's what Arsenal got to do. And Smith Rowe, I love Smith Rowe. I think he's a great player. His goal against Chelsea. Because I said it, the Chelsea Arsenal game reminded me. It was like the Wish.com version of Man City Liverpool, wasn't it? That's what it reminded me of. And Smith Rowe he was the only one with a bit of, I thought, had proper quality in that game. And his goal, where he just passed it into the net. I don't know why he hasn't played more. I don't know if he's been injured or anything, but that man should play every week.
Fantastic.
Saka.
Yeah, he should play every week. He's been injured since the start of the year, but when he does play,
fair enough.
He's got a finish on him.
Oh, he's
brilliant player.
Saka.
I love him. He's my favourite Arsenal player. I think he's got the potential to be our best player for me.
Yeah, Croydon Messi, you lot call him, ain't it?
Yeah.
Saka, great player, fantastic player. Martinelli, fantastic player. I'm happy for Eddie Nketiah because I know he gets a lot of pelters from some Arsenal fans.
Yeah,
should play tomorrow. Should play tomorrow. He's got 2 goals.
I think he will.
Should start tomorrow. Lacazette should just be eating bench as long as possible. And Eddie Nketiah should play. You should just go. Arsenal should just now go. Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, and Eddie Nketiah. That 4 of a triangle, and Smith Rowe just behind, and throw them out on the pitch every week if they're fit. Because that's the best Arsenal have got. And if that lot play to the ability they played against Chelsea, and don't play the occasion, just play the crap that's in front of them, they'll win. Yeah. They'll win tomorrow. And I'm doing the watch along for that tomorrow as well. Another cheap plug.
Are you wearing a Man United top, or are you going to wear a referee top tomorrow?
Who's the referee? Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, dress up like him.
I shave my head. I don't need too much, but a United win is better. A draw's great. Obviously, I don't really want an Arsenal win. I just wanted to bring up as well. Obviously, we've been talking about Everton and United, and I think they're evidence that doesn't matter how much you spend, you have to spend it well. You can't just throw money at a team and expect it to work. There's a lot more to it. And although we talk about Man City and what they've spent and all the rest of it, but they've invested well at the same time in who they bought. So I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, in terms of the game tomorrow, I think I thought the first half hour of the Chelsea game, both teams were shambolic. I thought it was quite calamitous from what I saw. The goals that all came from mistakes. Even with the goals that were scored, the ball could have gone in the net the other end of the pitch. Arsenal grew into the game. They steadied the ship a bit, and Chelsea just were left treading water and couldn't really deal with it. But from what I saw in the last half hour, last 20 minutes of the game, Arsenal were looking very, very strong and confident. The passes that they were making, the runs they were making, they wanted to take that team on. And if they go in with that energy against United, I think they'll just tear them to pieces and they can easily break through that defence.
Thank you, appreciate it. We'll go score prediction for this one. I'll start for the Arsenal fan. Listen, Arsenal are very similar to Tottenham. You just don't know what you're going to get, but I'm confident that we can build on the result against Chelsea. So I'm going to say 3-1. I'm going to give Man United a go. 3-1. Jamie.
2-0 Arsenal.
And you can watch that on Jamie's channel to watch.
Yeah, there you go.
2-0
Arsenal.
Number 3. Ren, what do you reckon, mate?
Do you know what? I hate to say this, but I feel like it's going to be. I feel like Man U might win 2-1.
He said it,
and I hate saying that. But I feel like
he's going to you, Ren.
He's going to need to take it. He's going to need to take a shower now. That was dirty.
Yeah, no, I hate saying it. I hate saying that.
But anyone can beat anyone. I get it. Luke.
I'm going to go for. I can't say an Arsenal win. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. United equalise in the 99th minute.
99th.
All right, wicked. All right, guys. So we've gone through the main games. Obviously, City are playing Watford. Let's not preview that. That's going to be 4-5-0. Apart from that,
that might surprise you, though.
You never know.
That might surprise you.
You never know. So we'll go to the top 10 centre backs. So obviously we've all got our ones here, and I've got everyone's on notes. So we'll go through it. So one at a time, we'll go through someone in there. They'll go through their top 10, and then they can talk briefly about each player, but don't waffle on, obviously, Luke. But before we get
to it, someone phone me.
Before we get there, I've got a few people that couldn't come on today. They gave me their 11. So I'll start with Waleed. He's on the YouTuber Oris Talks. This is his top 10. So Carragher 10, Stam, Bruce, Campbell, Van Dijk, Company, Vidic, Adams, Ferdinand, Terry. My mate called Bev, he's been on the channel before. He's smiling. He's very happy. He's a Man United fan, by the way. He went, he put Terry first, Rio Ferdinand, Adams, Company, Vidic, Campbell, Stam, Bruce, Desailly, Hendry. Others with consideration outside. Pallister, Carvalho, Van Dijk needs 2 more years. He will be top 5 more likely. Keown, Gallas, and Cahill. He's the only one not to have Van Dijk in his top 10. And just the Bear who's been commenting, Newcastle fan, he looks scary. Number one, he didn't put an order, but Terry's number 1. But in his top 10 would be Terry, Adams, Ferdinand, Vidic, Carragher, Desailly, Van Dijk, Company, Stan, and the dark horse Hyypiä. He's got 3 Liverpool players there.
Hyypiä was a great defender.
Yeah, Hyypiä.
I did consider Hyypiä, if I'm honest, because I was hesitant to put Van Dijk in, only because I feel like he's got a lot more to achieve. I feel like once he ends his career, he's there. But I think there's an argument against.
Yeah. Mark Hill, Fulham fan. He's hard, by the way. That was in the other night on the pitch. Hardcore. 10 Yap Stan, Hangeland.
Vidic second. Jesus.
Van Dijk, Company, Carvalho, Campbell, Rio, Adams, Vidic, John Terry. Shahan, another Man United fan. So expect Man United players in this. 10th, Bruce, Desailly, Stam, Vidic, Company, Campbell, Van Dijk, Adams, Rio, and he put Terry first. Cheggers, a.k.a. Munzi. Keith Chegwin, by the way. You can tell he's a Man United fan. Diaz, 10, Company, Keown, Van Dijk, Campbell, Adams, Terry, Vidic, Ferdinand, and Stam. And big up to Rich from Eagle Eye Football. He put Bruce, Desailly, Van Dijk, Company, Adams, Vidic, Stam, Campbell, Terry, Ferdinand. So there's a pattern here. And finally, the main man himself with a magnum in his mouth. What's the state of that? What is the state of that? I don't know what he's doing there. This is the most have a read of that.
Bet him fucking white. You know?
As Mertesacker.
Jagielka is 10th, Viran, Mertesacker, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Ben White, Diaz, Campbell, Van Dijk, John Terry.
France played 2 games. I
don't get it.
You must be joking.
He must have brain freeze from that magnum.
Give him credit. He's only 17, so he's
oh my dude.
So we've gone for everyone that couldn't be on. We've got a few people coming on. I've got a couple of comments. So it's Anton, by the way, not Rio. They're all the same. State of that. He's referring to Ollie. So we'll start. I'll tell you what. We'll start with you, Ren. I have your top 10, so please make sure you haven't changed it. Just start from 10, finishing with 1. Talk about a few sentences about each player. The floor is yours.
Hang on. Can you bring them up?
Well, yeah, I can put it up and you can talk about it. I thought you would have had it ready. Hang on.
That's on the box.
I'll put yours up.
List.
Sorry. I don't know. So you know, number 10 was Ledley King. And the only reason why I put him at the bottom is because he probably didn't win as much at Tottenham, but as a defender, when you hear everyone speak about him and the fact that he couldn't train, but when he came on, gave everybody obviously a hard time, I just had to throw him in there as being one of the, when you talk about, I guess, talent-wise, I had to throw him in there. So that's why I like him, and I think he would have made a good England defender if obviously he could have stayed fit and he didn't have those injury issues. So he's in there. I have Sol Campbell. He was a part of the, obviously everybody knows what he done and achieved with Arsenal. So, and the caliber defender he was, there's nothing really much to say about him. Obviously strong defender, won trophies, was with England, capped. What more can you say about him? Similar to Moussa Desailly, Obviously, coming in World Cup, top defender for Chelsea, strong, fast, probably one of the most unplayable defenders. Obviously, as a striker, you probably wouldn't want to come up against someone as physical as him either. Won it again, another defender that's won it all. Captain, I don't know what more you can say about him. Hoopier, I had to throw in there because of the fact that when he came to England, he actually helped us win trophies. I think he's a leader. He scored goals. He was able to, like, I guess at the times our teams weren't the best. So for someone to come in and help us win trophies, and obviously to command the defense as he did, I have to throw him in there strong as well. Obviously, I think he was a good reader of the game because I don't think he had pace. So obviously his awareness was good. Tony Adams, again, one of the best English defenders, had to throw him in there. Good leader. He won a lot himself with a good, strong Arsenal team. I think the one thing I like about defenders like Tony Adams is that they throw their body on the line. So they will give everything to make sure that you don't get a goal. They'll make sure that your life is that you're going through a tough time when you're trying to do all these fancy stuff. I like defenders that sometimes just do the simple stuff and just take you out if need be. We have Vidic. Obviously everybody knows with these guys, him and Rio was probably one of the best defensive partnerships in the history of the Prem. He's strong. Obviously, again, strong. The partnership, obviously, communication, the strength. Obviously, not letting anyone bully him. I don't really much know how to keep explaining it because most of the defenders that I have, I think, are similar. Van Dijk, I've put fourth. I know everyone might say, "What has he done?" But in terms of how he's turned our team around, I think you have to put him in there because from leaking goals, and I know Jamie knows this, we just leaked goals for fun before he came, and it's like as soon as he's come in, our whole team and everything's just changed. And I think alone for that and winning every European competition, nearly about to complete it. Hopefully, once we do it on the 14th of May, the FA Cup, he's won everything that you could win as a football player, and I think we will go on to do more. And I agree that some people say that he hasn't won enough like the others, but I'm still going to put him fourth. Vincent Kompany, I think, has to be up there also based on what he done for the Man City team. He was a great leader. Even when he wasn't playing, he was still able to command his team. I spelled Kompany wrong. So in terms of him being in the team, and even that wonder goal he scored in that where we were about to win the league, and then obviously he scored that wonder goal that stopped us winning the league that year. I had to put him in there just for that alone. We have John Terry. This was a hard one between John Terry and Rio because I think John Terry, I liked him for the fact that he would just throw himself, even when he knew he could get injured, at the ball to try and avoid any goals going in. He's a top leader. I think my only thing, which is obviously not on his ability, because I said I still wanted him to go World Cup, but I just think the controversy that this marred it a little bit for me. And then Rio, obviously, again, he's won his accolades and done his. Everybody knows what he's done with Man United, but yeah, that's mine.
Muted.
Anyone got any thoughts on that?
No, I like it. No,
I was going to say I debated on whether to put Ledley King in mine, but I didn't want to come across as biased, which looking at some of the other lists wouldn't have been an issue.
no.
I do think with Ledley King, if it weren't for the injuries, he would have been right up there. I think
Tremendous player.
But just those injuries just hindered him to getting into that top 10.
Yeah.
I think. Say he had all the ability in the world. He was a superb player.
He didn't train, did he? He just played.
He didn't train. He just played.
Yeah.
But that just he's almost a story of what could have been.
Totally.
Jamie, you regretting not putting Hyypiä in?
No, I like my list and I love Sammy. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore Sammy Hyypiä. I mean, he was a £2.5 million buy from with Arm 2, and
Yeah.
that's a bargain. He almost went to Oldham, believe it or not. He almost went to Oldham.
I remember reading that.
Before Liverpool bought him. And no one knew anything of him. I didn't even know who he was. And he's a legend for us, no doubt about it. But he's just outside my top 10. There's one player in my top 10 everyone's going to go mental at because he's number 2. And he will be go like Jamie.
Well, I've seen it, and we'll get to that in a minute.
I
think that's a good list. And
we had breaking news, by the way. There's been breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Gabriel Jesus is in advanced talks with Arsenal.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, that's
sure what I feel about that. Not sure what I feel about that. I have to process that. I'm going to go next, actually. So, mine on the chat. Actually, I'll tell you, because I forgot mine as well.
Your show! How did you forget?
Yeah, I forgot. Honourable mentions. I've got Steve Bruce, Carvalho, and there's someone else. I forgot who the honourable mention is now. I can't remember his name. Carragher, that's it. But my top 10, just say he's number 10, and he just gets in there, even though he wasn't at his peak when he was there, and they didn't win much in the league sense. When he joined in '97, Chelsea were like a 7 or 8 team, and then by the time he left, they were top 4. So that's progress, and that's mainly to him. Number 9, Gary Pallister. I rated him more than Bruce. I thought he was underrated. I thought he was better ability, even though Bruce was a great player. But McAllister was better on the ball. He was leader as well. And a lot of people forget about McAllister. I think Bruce gets a lot more accolades, but Bruce was slow, and McAllister kept him honest. Number 8, Jaap Stam. He only played 79 games in the Premier League, 3 seasons, but them 2 years for Man United, a treble-winning season, you have to put him in there. One of the best centre-backs of all time. And just for them 2 years, he was absolutely world-class. No one could get near him. Nutter, beast. Van Dijk, number 7 for me. There's no doubt he deserves to be in this list. He's only one of 2 players who have won PFA Player of the Year. The other one is number 1. So he has to be in for that reason. He's been a stalwart. He's changed Liverpool's luck. The best centre-back in the world for me. So, he's been there long enough. He's won the Premier League. So, yeah, there's no doubt for me. And he'll probably be higher in about 5 years' time. Rio, number 6. Don't get me wrong. I like Rio. But I don't think he's as good as what everyone has always said. I think there's better centre-backs as I've shown. But he was still a cracking player. But his last few years of his season, he got injury-prone. He started to get exposed and he lost his pace. Still a great player. Still a great reader of the game. But as I said, and as you see there, I've got 5 players in front of him. Number 5, Sol Campbell, in his peak for Arsenal. He was the best defender in the world at one point. He was very good for a very average Spurs team in the 90s. So that says everything. That's not a dig at Tottenham. That's just honest. The Tottenham weren't a big side in the 90s, and he outshone, and he was a standout player. So he's got to be decent. Is that So yeah, great player. Obviously, he's an Arsenal boy as well. So yeah, Company, very good player. Became a centre back, so that shows his quality to move from a centre mid. The reason why Man City won them leagues early on, when he wasn't playing, they were poor. They've now finally got players in to replace him in Diaz and Laporte, but he was so vital for a good 5-6 years for that team.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons. Vidic, I think Vidic, very underrated. I don't think people talk about him enough. I think he's reading of the game, his leadership, his strength, his jewels. He didn't get beat very much. Again, he did have a few injuries near the end, but in his peak for 3 or 4 years, he was the best centre-back in England, maybe in Europe, maybe in the world. But again, another absolute cracking player. Tony Adams, my favourite defender of all time. Obviously, an Arsenal boy growing up watching Tony. I used to love him. Everyone would always go, who's your favourite player? Obviously, Henry's my favourite, but it was a stage where I just loved Tony Adams. He was the leader. No nonsense. People don't rate him as much ability, but for me, he had the ability. He could score a goal. He put a tackle in. He never shied away. He never did any. He made mistakes, but at the same time, he was reliable, and he was the Arsenal captain for nearly 20 years. And that says everything in itself. To be in that level for that amount of time shows how good he was. And number 1, John Terry, just for me. Obviously, being biased with Adam second, maybe in a lot of people's opinions, but John Terry. He's the best English player, centre-back of all time, the best Premier League centre-back of all time. He's actual top class player. What can I say that's not already been said about him? He's won everything that he can win in club level. He's just a leader. He had ability. Another player that gets told he didn't have ability, but in his peak in his early 2000s, he was the reason why Desi got better for Chelsea, and he had that pace. He lost it at the end, but he learned how to play without it, and that's a testament of a true great centre back. So yeah, that's my list. Anyone's got any views on that? I probably think the fact that Rio's down, that might be a reason.
No, I think that's a decent list.
Yeah,
I think that's a decent list myself. I like that.
Ren, obviously you had Rio first. I had him 6. Do you understand why I've got him lower than you?
No. To be honest with you, I understand that, because if I'm honest with you, it was a tough one, because I think when I believe Terry did have ability. I think sometimes even if you don't have pace, but you have positioning, that's the great reader of the game. Personally, and I'm not going to lie to you, I think it was hard for me because Terry could have got there, because even the way like I said, he puts his body on the line. I love a defender that just does that. Even when they know they're going to get injured, they just he was one of those guys. That's why I said even at the World Cup, you'd have to take him. Obviously, he's always going to be there anyway. But I would like to get another player like him again in the England setup, or just yeah.
Can
I say something? Sorry, I was going to say, what's that guy, Jamie? Oh, what's the guy that we had? Phillips. Oh man, the young boy, the one that was in our defence when we had Van Dijk was injured.
Oh,
Nat
Phillips.
Nat Phillips. Do you know what? I know I really like this guy, right? But I know he won't get into our team with the centre backs we have now. But I would never. I wanted to keep him. I really like him. He reminds me of those type of
No nonsense centre back, ain't it? No nonsense centre back.
Yeah.
Big up to Tariq Talks in the chat. Appreciate that, mate. Marvin, thanks for coming on. How are you, mate? You all right?
All right, I'm good. How's everyone?
Yeah,
All
good, mate. We've just done it. Me and Ren have done ours, and we've gone through people that are not on the live stream. So obviously, just so you know what you're dealing with, that's my list. You probably saw that. I know you disagree because I know you don't rate Terry as highly as others. And Ren, that's Ren's list. I'll go to you in a minute. I'm going to go to Jamie now. Jamie has got a controversial number 2. I like the player, but it's the only person to have him in. So go on, Jamie. I'll let you tell your top 10 and then I'll put it up.
So Desai is my number 10 because he's a player I always liked, Marcel Desai, and Liverpool actually tried to bid for him at the time when at the same time that Chelsea did, and Chelsea for some reason Roy Evans pulled out the deal and he went to Chelsea, which I was fuming about. But yeah, it was a great player. I know it was not. It was. Did you know that? Yeah, Roy Evans.
No, I didn't know.
Liverpool bid the same amount of money as Chelsea for Desai, but Roy Evans pulled out the deal. And but I love Desai. I always did, especially watching AC Milan and stuff. He was a tremendous footballer. Yeah, it weren't peak Desai, but back in '97 when that kind of player came into the Premier League, it was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got Yat Stam in at number 9. As Graham said earlier, he played less than 100 games, and he was a tremendous centre back at his time. Like Vidic, I got 8. I can't stand Vidic. I'm going to put him in the top 10 because otherwise people will crucify me. But he was a bit of a pussy boy, really, weren't he? You could get under his skin so easy. I mean, he got sent off every time he played against Liverpool. Every time he played against Liverpool, he got sent off. Couldn't stand the heat. So I got him there at 8 because centre backs shouldn't be getting sent off that much. Company, I got at 10, 9, 8, 7. I love Vincent Company, but he did start his career as a midfielder, and he actually came to Man City as a midfielder. Couldn't hack it in midfield no more, so Mark Hughes put him back at centre back, where obviously he was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So that's the reason I got that Company as high. Sol Campbell in 10, 9, 8, 7. That's number 6. Sol Campbell in at 6. Love Sol Campbell. I rate anyone who goes from a rival to a rival and don't give a shit about it. I think that's hilarious. I just picked that up. Tremendous centre back though. Bit of a weird person off the pitch, but on the pitch he was definitely a tremendous defender, no doubt about it, and he was great for England as well. Then I got Virgil van Dijk in at 5, I believe, if I'm reading this rightly.
Yeah.
At number 5, I got Virgil van Dijk. Now, in a few years' time, he'll probably be number 1 on this list. But I will say, though, he was a great defender at Southampton. It's just that no one noticed because he played for Southampton. But you go and look back at the reason Liverpool played 75 million for him is because he was fantastic at Southampton. But people, I mean, everyone thinks he just become world class because he put the Liverpool shirt on the next week, but he was still quality while he was at Southampton. But because of the longevity, I will, you know, I think if we win another league trophy or something like that, he goes way up the list. Tony Adams in at 4 because how can you not predict? You know, how can you not love Tony Adams? I mean, this is a man's man of a defender for starters. Doesn't give a shit. You know, if you've got an ugly defender at the back, you know they're good. You know what I mean? It's like they say, never start a fight with an ugly man because they've got nothing to lose. And that's what I love about Tony Adams. And also,
he didn't give a shit, did he?
No, and he was that good when he was pissed at the same time. I mean, that's just amazing for me. Then I've got Rio Ferdinand as number 3. I did like Rio as a footballer. I actually preferred Rio Ferdinand as a defender when he was at Leeds before he went to Man United. I actually think he was a better defender at Leeds before he went to Man United. When he went to Man United, he got a bit cocky and arrogant. He never brought the ball out as much when he went to Man United as he did at West Ham and Leeds. He started to sit back in his defending more. But I did love him at Leeds, I've got to say.
Here we go.
Number 2. At number 2, I've got Lucas Radebe.
Right, but I
know he didn't play long, but I absolutely love Lucas Radebe as a defender and as a footballer. I thought he's a fantastic footballer. And his time at Leeds, he was arguably the best centre back in the league at the time.
There was a year where he was.
He was just phenomenal. Great defender, pace, strength. Hardly ever got beaten in the air. Hardly got beaten for pace. And you never really saw pacey centre backs back then like we did when Lucas Radebe was in the scene. Tremendous defender. And I know longevity, you know, I probably shouldn't have him in there. But for my own personal take on what I like in a footballer, I thought Lucas Radebe was top draw. And then John Terry's my number 1. John Terry is the biggest waste of skin of a human being I've ever seen in my life. But as a footballer, he was. You can't argue about it, can you? The man was top draw. He was top draw. Hate to say it, 'cause he played for Chelsea. As a human being, he's shit. But as a footballer, I can't put anything past him. He was tremendous, and you know, he was that. It was a throwback to defenders of the 80s, but playing in the 2000s, and he didn't have pace, but he never got beaten by anybody. He never had pace, but he never got skinned, never got beat. The man's positioning at the back was phenomenal. So, yeah, he was my number 1.
Anyone got anything to say about Jamie's top 10?
They're all in shock.
Well, look, your face when he said Radebe was a picture.
I think he was a phenomenal defender, but I don't know that he belongs in the top 10. Top 15, I think you can say, but I don't know about top 10.
That's fair enough. I just liked him as a footballer. He was just
I did.
Yeah, he was just my kind of defender at the time.
Yeah. Marvin, how are you, mate? Thanks for coming on again. Before I get to your top 10, just very briefly, what do you reckon the score will be against Tottenham this weekend?
I want to say 2-1 Brentford, but I see it ending. I'll probably say a draw, like 2-2, and I see Eriksen getting on the score sheet.
Good. All right, mate. So I'll get to you next on your top 10. You haven't done in order. Do you want me to put it on, or do you have it on you? I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. Can you put it on the screen?
So you haven't done a top 10, but here's your top, not in order, but here's your 10 players that you showed me earlier.
Yeah.
You want to go through them one at a time?
Yeah. Well, all right. I'll start from the top. Kolo Toure. He was part of the Invincibles Arsenal squad. And I think I don't know if the story is what I hear, like when he came into the squad, if it's true, like from what he's come from to the level that he got to, I just think it's amazing. And he was amazing in the Prem when he played as well. Sol Campbell, without question, he was just at a point in time when he was at Arsenal, he was one of the best defenders in the world. Ledley King, if I did have to put the list in any particular order, without Ledley King's injuries, he probably would have been like number one. Like, and I don't think anyone would have been competing with him. Rio Ferdinand, to me, probably the best English defender to ever play football. I know a lot of people won't agree. A lot of people will say John Terry, but I don't rate him as highly. Marcel Desailly, yeah, like when Chelsea signed, like he was just amazing. He was just something else. Carvalho, I think, he came with Mourinho. He learned a lot. No, John Terry, I believe, learned a lot from him. He taught John Terry a lot and made him the player that he was, which wherever Mourinho went to, he took Carvalho wherever he went to. Van Dijk, the best defender in the world at this current moment in time. Like, no one comes close. Vincent Kompany, the best foreign centre-back. Well, I'll say the second best foreign centre-back to ever play, because I got Van Dijk on the list as well. Vidic, the guy was just a beast, an animal. Like, he's someone I would go to war with. Always puts his body on the line. But yeah, I think someone was saying he always got sent off against Liverpool. I don't know how, I don't know why. And then John Terry, his positioning was, yeah, he was good positioning, but I don't rate him as number one or as highly as everyone else has rated him. But he was a good defender for what he was and what he played for. But yeah, that's my list. No particular order. Can't really.
If you had to pick a number one there,
yeah,
who would be your number one? If you had to just, who's the best out of that 10?
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brentford fans are so sensible, aren't they? I love him.
He's an Arsenal fan.
He's a bit of both.
Brentford.
Just a bit more on Terry. I know you said you don't rate him as highly, but what do you see? And again, everyone's got an opinion. There's nothing wrong with saying that you don't rate him as high. I don't rate Rio as high. But what do you see? What do you see about Terry that everyone else sees? In a sense,
I don't know. Maybe with me, I like players that play with a bit more flair, and John Terry never really had that. He had no pace. Like, the only thing that I rate Terry highly for was his positioning. Like, yeah, he was very hard to get beat, because even when I see him play against Henry was probably like one of the fastest players to ever play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But John Terry's positioning, like, he was always in the right position to get the ball. And that's what I rate him highly on.
Well,
but
you're bang on. You're bang on. I mean, with defending, I say this about defending all the time. If your defender's had to make a tackle, he's done something wrong. Defending is all about defending space, not engaging players to make a tackle. And like Palio Maldini used to say all the time, I had to make a tackle in the game. I obviously made a mistake, because it's about defending your position. And if you defend space in your position, no one gets past you. And like Virgil does that better than anyone at the moment. And John Terry did that better than anyone when he was playing. He defended his space. That's why he never got skinned. That's why Henry never went past him or anything like that, because he defended the space and position better than anybody. And but I can understand what Marvin's saying. And he likes a bit more sauce, you know. Terry might have been a bit dry, and that's that's everyone. But this debate about defenders is good. What you should do next is the top 10 midfielders, because they'll be.
Oh, I've got them all lined up.
You'll have Argument City then.
Yeah, no, we got. Yeah. Well, you know, we've already had that argument, didn't we, Jamie? Regarding Tony Adams, I know he's not on your list. Is it just because you didn't see him because you're a bit younger?
Yeah, I can only include players that I've seen play. Like, I don't really believe in highlights.
No.
I don't believe in highlights, because, like, I do watch a lot of live football games now, and watching that's just made me realize there's a lot that you see players do that you do not see in highlights. So because I've never really seen Tony Adams play, like I can understand, people saying, yeah, he was this amazing defender, but I've never seen it with my own eyes. Like, I can see a highlight of him making a tackle, but I would see Van Dijk doing the same thing. Van Dijk is someone that I've seen, which is why I can't put players like Adams, Steve Bruce, all these guys. I've never seen them play, so I won't include them in there.
Ren, what's your opinion on Marvin saying Van Dijk greatest? Do you think that's as a Liverpool fan? Do you agree, or do you think maybe a few more years?
Do you know what I think? I basically, you get these silly arguments where people say, has he played the best players and stuff, like Rios or the Terrys may have played. But I'm like, you always play what's in front of you. And I think in terms of the year where he never got dribbled past, I think for me, I think he has to win a few more cups.
Yeah.
But as a defender, you could argue that he is one of the best because his athleticism, the way he plays, his positioning. I just don't think I think he would have done it when all those top players were there. When back in the day with some of the best players then as well. Personally,
I mean, we talk about top players. Like I think Michael Ballack has said this or something like that about. But I think the players are better now than they were 10, 15 years ago. So, I think the players around now are technically better football.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
With Van Dijk,
because of how it is now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And with Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk had arguably the best season I've ever seen from a centre-back when we won the Champions League that year. That was arguably the best whole season I've ever seen from a centre-back. And he should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. It's just because everyone loves Messi, they gave it to him. But he should have won the Ballon d'Or that year.
Jamie, you know what? Sorry, I agree with you. I'm not going to lie to you. One of our players should have won something that year,
Yeah, I know. It's just Messi.
That was just absolute garbage.
Messi and Ronaldo are still alive or playing football.
Yeah.
I think when Messi retires, he'll still win a Ballon d'Or.
That's what I'm telling you. He's going to win this one, because he won the Copa America. I'm telling you, and he's got a few assists. They're going to make him win this one. But
Phil will be on shortly. We've got Luke to go. Obviously, Jay, one of the other guys, he's not appeared, so I'm just going to put Jay's up very quickly. 10th, William Gallas, another name that hasn't appeared yet. Carvalho, Campbell, Rio, Stam, Van Dijk, Company, Adams, Vidic, Terry. Jay obviously hasn't come on, but he's 11. And obviously, can we just go on?
Oh dear.
He put that as a fun now.
That's a fun now. Brave.
Luke, go on, mate. Your turn. What's your top 10? Do you need me to put it up or do you remember it?
Well, it's better for optics, isn't it?
Go on
yeah.
Yeah. So number 10, I did put Jamie Carragher in. I think the job he did for Liverpool for many, many years, he deserves some credit. I thought he was a strong leader at the back line, very vocal, and put in a strong challenge when it needed. So I've struggled with number 10 to be honest, about who to put, but in the end I went with Carragher. Ricardo Carvalho. Much what Marvin said earlier. I think the knowledge he imparted when he joined that Chelsea team, and just his reading of the game, his positioning, he was a phenomenal player. He had a great pass. He could break the line. For me, I think he was fantastic, and I hated him, but at the same time, he was a great player. Jaap Stam, obviously, a lot of people said Jaap Stam. It's hard to deny Jaap Stam. I think he would be higher up on the list if he was in the league for longer. But just on the shorter period that he was there for, he's at number 8. But phenomenal player and hard as nails. Number 7, Van Dijk. A lot of people have already put Van Dijk in, said a lot about Van Dijk. I think there's a lot more to come from him. And like I said earlier, I was hesitant to put him in only for the reason being that there is still a lot more to come. He's still got many years ahead of him, and see where he sort of ends up. But he's clearly a great talent. Number 6, Vincent Kompany. Again, he was the talisman for that Man City team when the money started coming in. Scored some crucial goals and some great goals. And yeah, the team wasn't the same without him. He really held them together. He led them well, and was a catalyst for a lot of their early success. Gone from Nemanja Vidic at 5. Again, I think he was another phenomenal talent, but just maybe his shorter time in the league put him a little bit higher up on the list than maybe he could have been. But yeah, great player. Hang on, where is it? Right. Number 4 was a hard one for me. Sol Campbell. Yeah, tough one. But he was a phenomenal player. But as a Tottenham fan, obviously, I hated him. Number 3, Rio Ferdinand. Again, just I disagree with Graham. I think he was a great player. I think he was very strong on the ball. He had a lot of athletic ability, and he could read the game as well. Tony Adams. It hurts me to put 2 Arsenal players in this top 10, but he was a leader of men. He wasn't blessed with the most physical attributes, or maybe the best technical ability, but he had a passion and a fire and a desire to win the ball and score a goal at a crucial time, and really lead the charge. And then, yeah, John Terry, again, not a great human being, but a fantastic footballer. Just took charge of his area and controlled the space really well. And I think it's hard to deny him, whether you like him or not. It's hard to deny Terry at number 1.
Yeah, bang.
Are you surprised, Luke, that there's not more people got Carragher in there? Because again, for me, he was just outside the top 10, or because of how many games he played for Liverpool. He played 508 Premier League games, and he was consistent.
He's second most. I think only Carragher has played more games for Liverpool than Jamie Carragher.
Why has he been overlooked then?
I love Carragher. I loved him, but I just couldn't squeeze him in my top 10. Maybe 11, but I just couldn't squeeze him in my top 10. I just thought the people above him were just better footballers. Carragher was old school. Carragher was no nonsense. If it needs to go out, he just spits it out. He would show no nonsense, but I go with it as well.
That's more the type of defender that I like.
Yeah.
I like a meat and potatoes defender. I don't like a John Stones try and play the ball fancy on the back.
Get it out. And I look at it in a way as well. Yeah, I look at Liverpool's team now. If Jurgen Klopp were picking, I think he'd pick, in what I got in my top 10, everyone over Carragher because of the way we want to play as a defensive team now. So, yeah, that's why I just think Carragher in. Great player. I mean, he played left back, right back, centre back. Tremendous. But he had 9 own goals as well. So, yeah.
He's not enough sauce for Marvin's take either.
No. Carragher's proper dry.
There's no flavour there, Marvin. No, do you not rate him, Marvin?
Not in top 10. Not even. Well, maybe he might just squeeze into my top 20.
Phil's coming on shortly. Is there any player? I know we've seen a few players, the odd occasion like Carlo Torre and Gallas, but is there any player where we completely ignored that maybe deserves a little bit of a mention? Anyone to mind?
Colin Hendry is a good player.
Yeah, my mate Fed put Colin Hendry.
Sylvain Distin?
Yeah.
Sylvain Distin, yeah. No, he's another one. He was a good player, but was he top 10? But did he play for City as well?
Yeah, he played for City and Everton.
City and Everton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Portsmouth, but he was shit when he was at Portsmouth. But Colin Hendry was the one when I saw his name come up. He was one that I definitely thought, you know what, he was a solid player.
Toby Alderweireld, I can never pronounce his name.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Yeah, I think
Very good defender at his time. One of the best.
Yeah.
Might as
And then
well say
I think
Bastioni.
Vertonghen was at his best was better than Alderweireld.
Yeah. Good point. Martin Keown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Martin Keown was in Cheggers one, so a few people put Martin Keown in.
There is one. I don't know how long he was in the Prem for.
Yeah.
Might just been the start of the Prem till about, I think, 96, something like that. Paul McGrath. Now,
Yeah.
Paul McGrath was, there's that song, No One Gets Past Paul McGrath, and you didn't, because the man was lightning quick. I think he played for Villa in the early 90s, 93, 94.
Yeah, I remember him, but I don't know much about him. I'm not going to lie.
He was he was a tremendous footballer. I've never seen a defender as quick as Paul McGrath. He was so quick. But I don't think he had long enough in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And there is quite a lot, ain't there? There is quite a lot.
There's quite a lot of players that you could, like I said, like Lucas Radebe. He's a player that a lot of people would say, yeah, he's up there, he's around there. There's so many. It took me 2 hours to do mine because I had top 7 and then I had 3 spaces for 6 players, and I tossed and turned over who I was going to put in. But there's no right, and then I didn't put Carlo Torre. Then for that 1 year for Arsenal, he was fantastic. And then you got Pascal Segan. He was amazing.
Pascal Segan. Jesus.
Phil said he's going to come on. So before we get to Phil, so anyone got anything else about top 10? Anyone has seen any of these? Let's just go back to one that was very eye-opening. And I know you know where I'm going. This one from Ollie.
Oh, it's just genius.
Jagielka, Viran, Mertesacker, Rudiger, Aspilicueta. Is that just because of time? Is that just because of the era? Or is that because...
I think head trauma, I think, is the main reason.
I mean, Varane's played 2 games.
How does Varane get in there?
Played 2 games.
Well, listen, that explains a lot.
I mean, it's the Ben.
He's still got brain freeze.
It's the Ben White thing. Ben White, that's a mouthful.
So, my co-host Phil, you're on the stream. Hi, Phil. You all right?
Yeah, mate. Thanks for sticking that up just as I came on.
You love it. Go on, mate. You go for your top 10.
Right. So obviously, I don't know how old you all are, but obviously, I started watching football about 2 years into the Premier League era, really. So there's a bit of a mix. These are just players. Some of them won stuff, some of them didn't. It's just players from my point of view, just watching, experiencing. This is the way I'd rank them as I liked them, basically. So starting off, obviously, number 10, he didn't play in the Premier League long, but I think it was 3 years, and I think he won the title every single year. That was Jaap Stam. So just if you just look at him, he will give you, like, your future kids will have nightmares just from the look he'll give you in the tunnel. So if you want someone to go out there and intimidate a centre forward, you put Jaap Stam in there. And I think I see him on one of those legend games recently. He still looked like he had a bit about him.
He was a tank, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think, was it between Arsenal's 2 wins that he was there? Was it 99 to 01, maybe, something like that? Arsenal won at either side, but
he won 3 years. He won 3 seasons. He won it all 3 years.
Yeah, and even Alex Ferguson admitted afterwards that was like his one big mistake, wasn't it, selling him to Lazio at the wrong time. So, yeah, and then is that Steve Bruce I've got there, number 9?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so Bruce, again, he was sort of like in both when he was there before the Premier League and during the start of it. But again, he was part of that where Man United came, won it and dominated for that spell. He was a big part of that. You look at the state of his face and you know he's a good centre half, didn't you? The uglier you are, the better you are as a defender, I suppose. But I think there was a season he scored something stupid like 15 goals in all comps or something like that. Can't remember which year it was, but that was obviously including like domestic cups in Europe. But he's one of those players that you'd want in your team, puts his body on the line. And I think in the changing room, I don't think anyone's probably ever pointed their finger at Brucey and said, "Oh, you've let us down today." Well, like you would get that with some other players. Number 8, this one, he could have not been in the top 10. He could have been higher up. It's quite hard to sort of rank Sol Campbell, really, because I know the end of his career didn't go too
Phil,
well. It's
Phil,
probably a
can I
bit
just
disappointing.
can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you there for a sec? Ren's going to shoot off. Ren, you there still,
Oh, yeah,
mate?
go, mate.
Yeah, I just want
Ren,
to.
you want to shout out, mate?
No, it's all good. Yeah, this was good seeing everyone, and I'll come jump on next time. I'll see you then.
See you now, Ren.
Clear.
Ren.
We'll go back to you, Phil, sorry, mate. Because after this one, we've just got to guarantee the weekend, so not long left. Go on, Phil, carry on.
Oh, mate. Yeah, so Sol Campbell, he could have slipped in anywhere sort of between sort of like 6 and 15 for me, really. But I think he sort of took the baton from Adams quite well. I think he played with him for, what was it, season and a half. But he did. I know there was that bit where everyone was booing him, and then he stepped out for personal reasons, wasn't it? And then he just went through the leagues for, was it Notts County? He ended up playing a game for or something stupid like that when he was having his troubles. But for England, what did he get? 50, 60 caps, something like that. And for Arsenal, 1 trophies, decent player for club and country. But I mean, this one as well, I know some people don't rate him as high. Marcel Desailly. Obviously, I was at school when he joined Chelsea, and obviously he was known as the Rock when he was at AC Milan. Marseille even as well, he played well there as well. You knew who he was even when you didn't have Sky and stuff back in those days. His name was known around, even like England, even though he was continental. And when he came in, as a kid watching him, you don't appreciate it, but when you watch it back now, you actually don't realise like what an athlete he actually was, as well as just like being a good defender. Mm. So it's like you're same age as you, Jamie. I'm only 1 year younger, but you sort of when you was at school, and then when you're looking at him now, you appreciate him a little bit more, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, great player
with your adult head on. Yeah, so, and I think he's one of those players that sort of when Chelsea were like mediocre, he suffered being at an average team. If he'd gone there, if it was his time when Abramovich had come in, he'd have won a lot more.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'd say he's probably the one on there that probably hasn't won as much. But I think if you were building a specimen, he's sort of like a defensive version of Drogba in a way.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah. So next one in, I'm not his biggest fan, but some people put him high. I've put Rio in at number 6. I've not had a problem with him, but it's just he's never done anything to really amaze me. He's annoyed me that he always seemed to care more about his social media, a bit like Dele Alli does. He did some prank show, didn't he, or something where he was going around murking everyone, and you think you're in the middle of your career, you're playing for Man United, you're playing for England, you're part of the golden generation. You can do that when your career finishes. You're not Ant and Dec. You're a centre half. Do your job. But I can't take away like he's won trophies, he's won everything. I didn't expect him to go into the commentary. He does all right on it. He's not anything I have against him as a pundit, and he talks a lot of sense. But what I would say is when he's played for club and country, in my opinion, obviously you can see my top 2 there, I always think he's had someone better than him alongside him, so that's helped him as well. Was it Johnny Woodgate he was at Leeds, so Leeds and West Ham obviously had to cut his teeth. But when he's been for England, he's had John Terry next to him. When he's been for Man United, he had Vidic there for quite a lot. So he's had someone to like hold his hand, so to speak. But he has won a lot, so you've got to give him credit for that. Next one up, Van Dijk. So some people are saying, oh, he's still playing, you can't put him in. But if you're just taking like a snapshot, if you like where we were arguing about the eye test the other day, Jay, if you just came down from like Mars and you were just looking at them all for 10 minutes as a specimen, you'd look at him and just go, fuck me, he's the best defender I've ever seen. But he's number 6 because he's still got to win a little bit more. If he wins another title or 2, as another say 5 years at the top, then he's going to make his way further up there. But I'm a Palace fan. I heard a story once that Neil Warnock sent our chief scout up there to Celtic to watch him.
Really?
Came back, said it's 5 million. So the guy, he said to the guy, "What do you reckon?" He said, "No, it's not worth the money." Southampton bought him the next summer window.
Wow.
And you just think, how stupid's that? But then one of my mates who supports Celtic, he told me that as the first game he went to, 20 minutes into his debut, he just said, fucking hell, he ain't going to be here for long. He's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Who's next, Phil, mate? Number 4.
So, again, some people have him higher. It's quite hard when you get towards the top there, but I've gone Tony Adams. Obviously, I grew up. I knew Tony Adams. He was the captain of England at the time when I was getting into football as well, like him and Alan Shearer. And again, like when you look at the state of him, you know he's been in some battles, and I think what is he 6'3", 6'4", something silly like that. He's just a beast as well, isn't he? Don't think he's ever let anyone down. Even though he had his problems off the field and that, a bit like Paul Merson, but on the pitch he always performed. And funnily enough, like he had a dream of George Graham was his manager. That's probably the best thing that could happen for him. Defensive coach, loves the 1-0. Then he got Arsene Wenger, that's a completely different coach as well, but he still dominated and beasted in both systems, which I think is where he doesn't always get the credit for that he adapted, where some players would have to move on because they wouldn't fit the Wenger system. Number 3, Vincent Kompany. I think, again, he's one of those ones that came to City during the transition. Like the Mark Hughes era, he's a bit unlucky that he wasn't there a little bit later. He'd have won more trophies. But when you watch him, a bit like with Van Dijk, you just look at him and just think he could play anywhere on the pitch. He could play as a centre midfielder. I think he did when he was at Belgium early in his career.
Yeah. He came to City as a midfielder as well, didn't
he? Yeah, but him and Yaya Toure were a lot of the reason City were as good as they were before they got all the players.
Mm.
I think they gave him that platform to then go on and like be one of the powerhouses. If they hadn't come to City, it might have just fallen flat on its face. But they're the two players that you'd look at and you think they're losing 1-0. They like that goal against Leicester. He just took it upon himself to just go and win that league because the forwards weren't doing it. And then at the top again, I've got Vidic and Terry, but I wouldn't say like they'd be my partnership. It'd be you need to have like Terry or Vidic with maybe like Kompany or Van Dijk to have a ball playing defender and a out and out like last man defender. I don't think sometimes like Terry and Adams might not work. Terry and Vidic might not work. You have to have a balance in there. But Vidic, I can only remember him. Jamie will remind me of these, but he got torn apart by Fernando Torres a couple of times, didn't he? A couple of red cards.
Yeah, he got sent off against every time he played Liverpool. I think he had 3 or 4 red cards.
But that was sort of towards the back end of his United time as well, wasn't it? But if you check just sort of like his prime 5 years that he was in the Premiership, he was an absolute beast, and you just sort of look at him as well. He wasn't the biggest guy physically, but you wouldn't fancy having a fight with him.
No, never.
Yeah, and then at the top, I haven't seen everyone's list, but I'm pretty sure JT's in the top 3 for like most people.
Yeah.
Again, like club and country. I think 18 was it? He made his debut at Chelsea, and he was basically like you knew then he was just going to be their defender forever. 1-man club. I know he went to Villa for last season, but he's again. Was it the Carling Cup final? Was it against Tottenham when he got booted in the face? He was like near enough unconscious, and then he was back there just after they lifted the trophy, wasn't he? Never knew when he was beaten. But he's the sort of person when you're going into a war, you want John Terry standing next to you. Whether you like him or like his team, you can't take away his ability and like the fact he just put it all on the line. And the way he ended his career, he was shot to pieces. That's because of what he'd put into playing, where a lot of people say, I'm not going to play today, boss, I'm injured, blah, blah, blah. He'd go out there, if he had 2 broken legs, he'd still try and play.
Totally. I see a comment here. Before I ask it, I know they're both watching. Big up to Monday Talks. Big up to our guy Rich. So Rich, that's your team. We went through it earlier. Brewster City, Van Dijk, Kompany, Adams, Vidic, Stan, Campbell, Terry, Ferdinand, and Cheggers. That's your team from earlier. We all know that you're a Man United fan by looking at that. Just going back to the question. Marvin was shaking his head because I know he feels the same. Carvalho carried Terry in his opinion. Does anyone have a thought about that?
Carvalho was a bloody good defender. He was a bloody good defender.
Did he carry Terry, in your opinion?
I think they carried each other, to be fair. I think they carried each other. They were the best partnership in the league. There's no doubt about that. They were tremendous. I think Terry benefited from Carvalho being with him, and Carvalho benefited with Terry. I think they were just a match made in heaven with each other. I don't think either carried each other. They were just perfect for each other.
Yeah, I think they were a great tandem, weren't they?
Yeah, as long as their wives didn't meet each other, you're fine, aren't you?
Yeah. Marvin, tell me why that's true.
To me, Carvalho I feel like Carvalho taught Terry like what he knew, and made him the player that he was. If Carvalho never went to Chelsea, I don't believe John Terry would have been as good of a defender as he was. And even when Desai was at Chelsea, he was John Terry was Desai's understudy. He learned a lot from Desai as well. So I guess, yeah, in a way, well, John Terry learned from the best, you could say. So, and he put that into practice on the pitch with his positioning.
Carvalho's very good. I always thought near the back end he was a little bit erratic at times, but at the start he was very good, and I will say that. So that's everyone's top 10. 4 of the 5 people on right now put Terry first. Marvin and Van Dijk, and Ori Ren put Rio. Before we go, just gonna. Oh, sorry. One more question for you guys. I'll start with you, Luke. Regarding this week of fixtures, and people who've been on this show before, they know what I'm going to do here. What is your guarantee of the weekend? What is going to happen? You can guarantee it. Be creative. Start with you, Luke.
Well, it's got to be Christian Eriksen scoring against Tottenham, isn't it? It's just, yeah, you're just guaranteed.
Written in the stars, isn't it?
Marvin, what about you?
All right, I don't want to say the same as Luke, because if you asked me first, that's what I would have said. But Ronaldo's back now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll, as much as I don't want to say it, he'll probably score a brace against Arsenal, 2 goals.
Phil?
Well, the other one is for Palace to do absolutely dick all against Leeds on Monday night. Season's over now, but I'll go for a different one. Everyone's bumming Newcastle up, but my guarantee of the week is Norwich will do them. Norwich will do them.
You fucking took my one, you wanker. Jamie, what's your you fucking first class wanker. Jamie, what's your guarantee, mate?
Oh, guarantee of the week. Guarantee of the week. Yeah. Watford gets something against Man City. No, I'm joking. Liverpool will just get absolutely smash Everton. Easy. Money on it now. Can't lose.
I'll tell you what, I'll go for Watford will get a go against Man City. There you go. Guarantee. Watch it happen, and then they lose 6-1.
If Watford get anything against Man City on Saturday, I'll come live on straight away on my channel. I'll have party poppers, disco lights, because we're beating Everton anyway. I'll be going mental. I'll have a top off.
Get a couple of magnums in there.
Oh man, that is a bad picture.
Before we go, guys, I really appreciate everyone coming on here. Listen, we will continue this top 10. We'll do midfielders and goalies and strikers. I think with the defenders it was easier, but when we get to probably midfielders, is when there's going to be the arguments.
There's going to be tension. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of tension. And Rob, regarding your top 10, you did lucky all time. You didn't do Prem, but it was a good all time. But it looked like you did it off Google. Anyway, we'll go to each person. Just shout out where we can find you or where you can be on. I'll start with you, Marvin.
Daddy and the Don Sports.
Luke.
You know.
Daddy and the Don Sports. In witness protection right now, my co-host, Bill, can we see you?
Right, basically, you probably know my voice, but you don't see me on it too much. But I am actually Graham's boss. He takes all the credit for it on the live shows, but I'm half of Daddy and the Don. So get on it.
He's not my boss. he creates the preview videos where I get everyone to do the videos and create them. So we're a tandem. And Jamie, you've already plugged your show about 6 times. But go on, plug it again.
Yeah, so Jamie Phillips Football Chats. That's where you can find me on YouTube, guys.
Definitely get on that, guys. Very good channel.
Yeah, G, I've got one quick question, G, right? Just while we were talking about Watford a minute ago. So they sacked their manager when he was about 14th, 15th in the league and doing all right.
Yeah.
Do you think they deserve everything they get now going down? Because they're on their 3rd manager. They'll probably be on their 4th manager by the time the season finishes. But
I've said this all the time. Club owners don't know what they're doing half the time, and they ruin it for everybody. I mean, what's the manager's name that got them to the FA Cup final a few years back? I know they got
Come and
battered. They got battered by Man City,
City.
but
Yeah.
he was a good
I forgot
manager
his
for
name.
Watford. He had like 2 good years and was doing something. And
Yeah.
because I don't know what the owners at Watford want from Watford, I don't know if they want to be a top 10 club, a top 6 club, or what. But because he weren't achieving them goals, they just sacked him after 2 good years. It makes no sense. So they deserve. I feel sorry for the Watford fans. I just feel sorry for their fan base because they should be put through this.
All right, lads. I really appreciate you all coming on. Thank you, Luke. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we covered everything.
Let's hope that Brentford get a win. Marvin, anything you want to add, mate?
No, actually, between Burnley and Everton, who do you reckon is going down?
Everton.
I'll tell you what, we'll go through one word answer. I'll start with that. Burnley. Luke?
Burnley.
Burnley.
My employer, Phil.
Yeah, employee got it right the first time. Burnley just last day of the season.
Marvin, what do you reckon?
I still think Everton.
Be the biggest relegation in the history of the Premier League.
It would be. It'd be absolutely. My dad's an Everton fan. It would be fucking hilarious.
That's actually happening. Their running's too tough for me.
Yeah, but they got Dele Alli. Dele Alli will keep them up.
Yeah. So
Dele Alli can't even get it. Dele Alli can't even get it up.
So he can't keep himself up.
I don't know. I've seen a video that says otherwise.
Maybe you can.
Jesus, that is a heck of a picture.
Imagine your daughter bringing that home in a few years' time. Fuck me.
Oh dear.
Jamie, anything you want to add, mate?
Oh, I'm good. That picture's fucked me up. No, I'm good. Oh man,
was it the eye contact? Was it the eye contact?
I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
When he did it, was the eye contact with the magnum in his mouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
He looked like he's enjoying it anyway.
All right, guys, that's enough for today. Enjoyed it. Let's stop talking about the magnum. And that's it. So, Jamie, we'll see Jamie's show tomorrow for watch-alongs. Regarding Danny the Don, we've got some more previews coming up next week. I'll be live either next week or the week on with the next phone-in chat. And again, we'll probably be doing the next one to be midfielders, so I'm sure you'll see the same faces. And yes, that's all for now, guys. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon.